Hi, this is Captain Jay Williams with David Walters Yachts, and today we're going to run around Port Annapolis Boatyard and we're going to talk a little bit about rudders. So we're going to start out with a rudder on a Catalina 40, and this is what we call a balanced spade rudder. This is the most common sort of rudder that you're going to see in newer boats, and there's some really good reasons for it and some disadvantages as well, which we'll go through. Now, first off, you can see that this rudder is only supported by a rudder post up here at the top. There's a bearing right there, and then there's a second bearing inside the boat, and it's driven by a quadrant. And there are some advantages to this type. The most important advantage is performance when you're backing up. When this rudder turns, the leading edge of the rudder turns in one direction around this pivot center, and the trailing edge turns in the other direction. And that means that a boat with a spade rudder of this sort is really, really nice to back up. In fact, in a lot of cases, a boat like this is more maneuverable in reverse than it might be in forward. It also gives a boat a really nice sporty feel under sail and under power as well. It's very responsive and reactive to the helm. The disadvantage to a rudder like this is that it's fairly vulnerable. In a grounding, you can actually see here that the rudder is as deep as the bottom of the keel, or maybe just a tiny bit deeper since this has the shoal draft keel on it. So this is pretty exposed. If you smack it into something, this rudder is a bit of a challenge. And it can be damaged because when you put a lot of force onto the lower part of the rudder, all of that force is focused right here on this bearing and the rudder stock or shaft itself. Doesn't mean it's going to snap off or fall off. This is a very successful rudder design because of all of its performance advantages. Another factor with a boat like this, you can see that we have a very long prop shaft leading out to the prop. And there's a strut right here that supports that shaft. Got a couple of nice fresh anodes on there. And we also have a feathering prop, which is something we'll talk about in another video as well. And this one has a line cutter, which is pretty useful, and I always recommend that you use them even though they're not 100% successful at saving your gear. So one of the advantages of a design like this is when you're in reverse, the prop produces wash towards the bow of the boat, and the boat backs up straight, not only because of the shape of the rudder, but because even though the wash primarily comes off one side of the prop, by the time the boat starts moving in reverse, the wash just pushes the boat more or less straight back. And as we look at some of the other rudder types, you'll see that in action. Okay, here you can see we have a Skeg-Hung rudder. It's a bigger boat, it's a 50-footer. One of our listings, this is Roxy. And this Skeg-Hung rudder has a support on which the rudder hinges. So it doesn't have that balanced effect that the Catalina had. And as a result, particularly when you're backing this boat up, you're not going to get as much moment, as much force causing the boat to turn in reverse. But there are advantages here as well. The first one is straight up strength. You can see that we have a lower rudder anchor point and bearing here, and that we're not depending on the rudder stock to do all of the work of carrying the rudder. If you do hit something with this, then it is less likely to shear off or break for two reasons. First off, of course, we're not just dependent on the rudder stock. We have this large area of interface. And then also, the leverage on it is far lower in an impact from this mounting point. You still get the advantage when you're backing up of the space between the keel and the prop, and a lot of ventilation for that prop wash to move. But when you're backing this up, because this rudder is front hinged and doesn't have that forward balanced portion, this boat will be less responsive and have less ability to turn when it's in reverse than a boat like the previous Catalina. So you're giving something up for this strength. This is the standard that we see in a lot of heavy duty cruising boats these days, because you have, a modified thin keel that gives you good sailing performance, and then a pretty good gap to the rudder. And let's say, you're off the Bay of Biscay and an orca hits your rudder. this is the better choice. It's much more likely that you get to keep your rudder in those circumstances, as many people have found out. Now, it's important to maintain any rudder system. So any well-maintained rudder system is better than the absolute best badly maintained rudder system. You have to maintain those bearings, and it doesn't matter if it's this style or a Spade rudder. Maintaining those bearings is the key. Here we have another really interesting rudder setup. This is an Aperture strut. So you have some of the advantages of the Skeg-Hung rudder. You can see that the prop is in an aperture, and what that does is it adds a lot of support to your prop shaft because it's encapsulated. It's inside the boat all the way from where it exits the boat all the way to the engine. So instead of having struts and all that to support it, you have an interior run for that prop shaft, and then you have a cutlass bearing right up in here. This has that advantage, but you can see that the ratio of the rudder surface to the size of the boat, this is a 34-foot creelock here, is quite a bit smaller. So you have less force applied by your rudder in reverse. And again, you're going to lose a little bit of force in reverse. The other thing that's going to happen with this boat is it's going to really start to experience prop walk, because the strut is blocking the ventilation. In other words, when you put this boat in reverse and it's sending prop wash out, it's going to really concentrate that prop wash on one side of this keel. And it's going to cause this boat to move sideways more than either of the other two in reverse. And that's a little bit of a downside. An upside, though, is that this thing is burly. It's really tough. Same orca, same bad day in the Bay of Biscay, this is even more likely to stay on, or in a grounding. You can also see that in this case, this rudder is quite a bit higher up than the keel. So it's significantly less likely to be damaged in a grounding, and that's really advantageous. And then we have the OG, the full keel. This is an Allied XL2. I actually sailed one of these thousands of miles in the Caribbean. And you can see that here we have a full keel on the boat, and the rudder is completely hinged to the keel. Now remember what we talked about with the Aperture setup on the other boat. When you put this boat in reverse, it's more or less going to go sideways. You're going to send prop wash all the way down one side of the keel, and it's going to propel the boat away from it. So that's the disadvantage. The advantage is that this is structurally, by far, the strongest way you can build a rudder and keel setup. The rudder is hinged completely to this big keel. It's set up away from the keel just a little bit. In case of a grounding, you can see that the trailing edge of that rudder is lifted a little bit. And same orca, same bad day, this is the one to have. But you are giving up significant maneuverability when you select something like this. Everything is a trade-off. And again, it's all about maintenance, of course. So in a grounding or impact situation, this is far and away the strongest if they're all equally maintained. But you do give up some feel at the helm and some sailing performance upwind, and then also very much the backing with a boat like this. The Allied that I sailed, as wonderful as she was, really struggled to be backed into anything. It was terrible. I had to get lines on and just walk it in. So here we have a twin rudder boat. And at first it seems like it might solve all of the problems that you've seen with some of the other rudder designs. A couple of interesting things. Take a look at the way that the rudder cants outward from the center line of the boat. That means that when you're heeled over, that rudder is much more vertical and is not providing lift as much as it is steering the boat. The windward rudder is providing lift though. So that's pretty cool. And if you get an orca smacking into you there in the Bay of Biscay, you got two rudders, so you got a better chance of getting out of it. All a win, right? Well, there are a couple of disadvantages. Reports from people who sail and own boats with twin rudders are that the boats don't balance up and handle themselves the way that a single rudder boat does. You can often take a single rudder boat that's well balanced and it will more or less stay on course with neither a weather nor a lee helm. And twin rudder boats are a little bit more finicky on the helm. The other disadvantage is maneuvering near a dock. With a single rudder boat, like this one here, when you put the engine in gear, it pushes a thrust of water over the rudder, and then the rudder can be used to direct the stern of the boat. But here, with a twin rudder, engine thrust is going to just pass between those two rudders and not give you nearly as much twist when you're maneuvering going forward. So you're dependent on the control flow of water over these rudders to get your maneuvering. Now in reverse, these are semi-balanced foils, just like the single rudder boat that we started with. So they will bite very, very well in reverse. And these boats back up extremely well. In the end, what we have is a bunch of designs that work, a bunch of ways that this all works. We can put any of these styles of rudder on a boat, and they're going to work out. But you have to pick a boat that has the set of design features that work for you. If you're offshore cruising, looking at crossing oceans, and going slowly and having a tough boat is the most important thing to you, you should probably be looking at full keel or Skeg-Hung rudder designs. If offshore performance is your deal, if you want to make fast passages and get it done in a hurry, you might look at a more modern European style like the boat we're under now. If you're racing, you certainly want a tall Spade rudder or a twin rudder design in order to get the maximum performance out of the boat. So this is just part of what you have to look at when you're searching for a boat. Here's an Oceana 60 Beneteau, by the way, with a single balanced Spade rudder. This is a good example of a very, very common design. We have all of the fundamental things. I do want to point out something that I like here, though. You see how the shaft strut is set up, and then the shaft goes into this housing on the bottom of the boat. I like that. It gives you a little bit more lateral support for the shaft. It shortens the shaft's exposure and makes it a little stiffer. That's a good design. I'm all for good design. Well, guys, thanks very much. This is Jay Williams from David Walters Yachts. I hope you've enjoyed talking to me about boat rudders. Thanks.